Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Speakeasy. I'm your barkeeper, Jeff Belanger. Happy Monday night. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope things are going okay for you. Like maybe things are improving. The weather's been nice, although last night here it was a horrible rain and thunder and hailstorm, but we survived it. And that's what we're doing every day, isn't it? We're surviving. I want to say, if you're watching right now, please, oh, please like and share and start watch parties so all of your friends can participate in the Speakeasy. Tonight, I'm going with the Narragansett Lager in honor of the anniversary of the Jaws movie, because this is what they drank. Rhode Island Brew right here. Going with the tall boy because it's been that kind of Monday. Know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're going to talk about all kinds of things tonight. I'm very excited because we're talking about hard stuff, cool stuff, interesting stuff, all of that with some folks I've known for a while. Well, one person I've known for a while. Anyway, I also want to do a shameless plug, if I could, if you wouldn't mind. Would you? I guess you got no choice. We're just going to do this. I've got a bunch of programs coming up, virtual programs you can attend from anywhere in the world, and these are all free. Look at this is just in the next few weeks. I've got all these New England Legends programs, and the thing is, I know it says the same thing every time, but I'm doing different stories. I've got like 80 different stories I'm cycling through, and each night I'll tell like 9 or 10. So you can come see me for all of them, and you'll hear a ton of different stuff. So like June 30th, I'll be at the Concord Public Library, but you can watch from wherever you are via Zoom meeting. And all of these dates, all of these registration forms and all that other stuff can be found on my website if you want to go to any one of them or all of them. Space is limited to 100 people each, I believe. And there's my website where you can go find out more information. Okay, thus ends the shameless plugs. Not really that shameless. I mean, if it was shameless, I'd be like, hey, did I mention I have a new book coming out called The Call of Kilimanjaro, Finding Hope Above the Clouds? That would be shameless. And I'm not going to do that. I'm totally not going to do that. I want to get to our guests because I also want to get to opening up this thing and get that going. So tonight, please welcome a married couple, my first like married duo here, and they can be together because they're married. They don't have to socially distance. That would be awkward. So please, oh please, can you all welcome Rosalyn and Michael Lewis? Yay!
Woo! Hi everyone. Hi Jeff.
We're going to talk about music and ghosts and spirituality and race.
Woo!
God. Let me ask the hard questions first. What are you guys drinking tonight?
We are drinking a couple of Angry Orchards. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Angry Orchard. It's a hard apple cider.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Angry Orchard.
So I've enjoyed cider since probably like 20 years. I used to get it at the British pubs that they have, and you know, I was fascinated by it, and I started finding it out in the stores and bars, and I was like, oh, this is very nice. And then Angry Orchard bought this 100-year-old orchard farm right about 3 miles from us, and they've got a great tasting room, and I used to go there and do open mics, and the history of cider in North America, which is fascinating. This used to be, apparently, according to the cider drinking population, the #1 drink over beer. It was Prohibition that killed it off. The apple orchards didn't recover as quickly as the wheat and the other beer products, so that's when beer vaulted over it, according to the ciderists, if you believe me.
Have you ever partaken in a snake bite?
Yes. Oh, those are good.
Oh, I have not.
Oh yeah, we got to try those.
Go ahead, explain, Michael.
Is that, I know it's a combination of two things. So cider and
beer.
Beer. Cider and beer.
Oh.
I mean, depending which way you want to go, whether you go like lager or an ale or whatever. Right. But yes. Where are you guys located? Where's the home?
So we actually live in Walden, New York, which is where this is brewed. It's in the Hudson Valley. So if people are familiar with Stewart Airport, we're in that area.
Poughkeepsie, we're about 90 miles from New York City.
Yeah, well, cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you, brother. Whoa!
Look, that's me in beer vision.
That's right. Whoa!
That's beer goggles. That's what I look like.
He looks so handsome with beer goggles.
Thank you so much. So, okay. So, Rosalyn, I first learned about you from Ghost Hunters Academy, the TV show. And then we started running into each other at paranormal events and stuff like that. Yeah. And Michael, tell me your story. I know you're a musician. I see the guitar. We are going to jam later, by the way. Not together because we already figured out we won't be quite in sync.
No, technology, yeah, it's not our friend.
No, but that's okay. So tell me how you got into all this, Michael.
I guess in my teenage years, I was a church-going youth, and a couple of personal experiences started to graft into my religious beliefs. One was my older brother became good friends with a gentleman named Chris DeCesare, who became known as the Ghost Boy of Geneseo. He had an extreme haunting over an 11-week span while he was attending a state college very near Rochester, New York, where I lived. So I was like an impressionable, like 14, 15-year-old, and the cool older guys were talking about ghosts. I was like, well, that sounds interesting. And then I think I was probably around 19 or 20, and my grandma Lewis was ill, and the family congregated, and then she passed away. And my older brother said, well, you could cry, but do you think this is really the end for Grandma? I was like, nah, I guess I don't think so. And so it's just kind of interesting the way the paranormal kind of wove into my world beliefs. So, it was nothing to, go out to Frederick Douglass's old homestead in Rochester and try and talk with him one night with my friends. It was nothing to, research biblical Christianity and the roots of all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just been a great melting pot where everything, I've just been able to be around great people and sift through things and wonder about things and just keep seeking.
That's super cool. And you're a musician. I actually wrote a song about ghosts. Would you like to hear it?
Naturally.
Absolutely.
That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Oh, you nailed it.
Pay us extra.
Right. It's key of E, if that's okay with you.
I like E.
Ready? Ghosts.
Oh my gosh.
I'm still working on the rest of it, but I think it's a pretty good start.
I'm emotional. I am so emotional.
Hit you in the feels, didn't it?
Yeah. It was amazing.
It took me a long time to write that. But anyway, so it's coming along. Roz, you were in a paranormal group in 1999?
Yes.
I didn't know there were paranormal groups before 2004.
I know, right?
Right? What was
TV
happening in 99? Besides like waiting for the world to end?
Well, I was waiting for the internet to start. But
right.
I grew up out in South Jersey, just outside of Philly, and
you don't have to admit that. We're live.
Oh, I'm a Jersey girl, always a Jersey girl. But yeah, so of course, it's a very like New England. It's a very historic area, and grew up in a family that believed in ghosts but didn't really talk about it. And I always like to joke that, my Aunt Sharon would sum it up by saying, let the dead stay dead. So, we believed it. We didn't mess with it. So as a little girl, I would have premonitions. And that was kind of what piqued my interest in the paranormal. But it wasn't until 1999 I was watching a local Halloween time news local interest story. ABC News had a little, here's what's going on in Halloween happenings in the area. And they talked about this group that was a New Jersey ghost hunting group. And again, like you, it's like I had never realized that there were things like this in my own backyard. So I went out and joined and ended up staying with them for quite a while. I became an assistant director, and we were the T.A.P.S family group for New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and we did some of their southeastern Pennsylvania and Delaware. So we were kept hopping with, if you called T.A.P.S and lived in my area, we would go out and help you.
Very cool. You sent me a photo, and it's funny. You didn't tell me what the photo was, but I knew when I saw the airplane.
I knew you would.
I've flown in right over. I've been in that airplane, so that's Fort Mifflin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, I mean, when I say it's at the end of the runway, like there's your proof, right? I mean, that plane's coming down in just a few seconds. So Fort Mifflin, And not far from South Jersey, of course. Like, was that one of your early like big investigations?
Oh, absolutely. I've been there many times, both for daytime visits, which is when that photo was taken. I was there with Michael and our younger son, Ethan, and also for nighttime events. I've been there on a Halloween overnight. We used to actually help host some ghost hunts there back in the day with my group. So yeah, Fort Mifflin it's one of those great places. And the reason we submitted that photo is, Michael and I were talking about the interesting thing between, this historic location that is also intermingled with this dichotomy of today modern technology.
Yeah.
So you've got these modern airplanes flying right over
every
the
minutes.
historic buildings of the fort that saved America, as it's known.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very fascinating location. A lot of mosquitoes certain times a year, so be prepared for that. But you also have this rich American founding history that took place right there.
I love that, and I know the place. And there's another reminder. So picture this: you paranormal investigators, you're out there late at night, and you're doing your EVP, and you're like, "Are there any spirits present?" 700 decibels of jet engine. I think that was the 747. Right? They could be
a
like
little distracting.
like your EVP could be the Gettysburg Address, but you won't hear it. You'll be playing back and be like, "What's it say? I don't know." Got earplugs in. We should stop yelling because we're probably blowing out people's speakers. Okay, I have to get something. You guys talk for a minute. I got to go in the woods here. I meant to get it earlier. I forgot, but I don't care. So just talk for a second. Go.
Yeah, very interesting.
So the great thing about Fort Mifflin is that it's historic.
You guys are terrible.
You can picnic there. You can bring hard cider. You could bring a gasset. You can just have a good time there.
So, all right, I'm going to hold something up. I hope people can read it. Remember that?
Ouija.
You were there, Roz.
Yes, absolutely, I do. WouijaCon. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so this was the 125th anniversary of the Ouija board in Baltimore, and the date is rather significant. April 24th, 2015, because we're there. We got to hang out, and as if WouijaCon wasn't enough for Baltimore, they decided that would be a great time to throw a race riot.
Yeah, why not?
I know. Like, we're here. Let's do this, right? So there had just been there was an issue with the police and a African-American man, and so it was interesting because we would watch the news in the lobby, right? And we're in downtown, right? We'd go outside and be like, doesn't look that bad from the street, but on the news it looks like Armageddon.
Yeah.
So I have this question for you. I've asked you this privately, and so everybody knows, I asked if it was cool to talk about this. Why are there so few people of color in the paranormal? Why are there so few women in the paranormal? And how do we have this discussion now without sounding so weird and awkward? And like, I'm a white guy. I thought I was woke and everything, but then all this stuff going down lately, and I'm just like, am I woke? Maybe I'm still asleep. I don't even know. And I don't even know how to have the conversation. So I'm like, my friend Roz is going to help me. I know. So how do we have this conversation?
I'm going to try to help.
Please.
But in some ways, I'm as confused as you are because, I grew up in a household, it's a Black family with Southern roots. And a lot of times I would think that was part of the reason that we had our attitude towards ghosts that we did. Whether it was because you come from a people that have seen real horrors perpetrated against them. They know that there's real scary things. There's actual boogeymen that exist and they're garbed as men. So the scary things that we can't fight and fend off, we tend not to mess with. So that was always one theory for me. Now, I obviously am not going to try to speak for an entire population, but in my household, when I would have my premonitions, my family was freaked out by it. They weren't comfortable with it. It wasn't something that was accepted. When it comes to race and the paranormal, I know that a few years ago, SyFy Channel came out with their Ghost Brothers series. And
which, real quick interjection, I've met those guys. They're funny. They're awesome. And I'm so jealous because they're the only show that gets to have fun with this.
And that's a good point.
Damn it.
But by the same token, is that should the first Black paranormal show have been cast in a way that's humorous? You know what I mean? Like
I do.
And I've met one of the guys at an event I did. I don't know them all, and I don't watch a lot of TV. But from everything I hear from everyone, you know, they're good guys and it's a good show. But you know, most ghost investigators are serious with their approach and about the field. And I'm not saying they're not serious about the field, but again, we're talking about the difference between the reality of paranormal investigating and paranormal entertainment. And that's the first thing I think we need to start with. Those are two completely different things. When we talk about women in the paranormal, from my ghost group and the other ghost groups in my region in South Jersey and Philly and Delaware, it was predominantly women, you know? So, but on television, it's the opposite. You know, we tend to see more men as the leaders and as the cast members.
Totally. And to Nancy's comment here, who says, women in the paranormal, shall I name names? Of course, there's a ton of names we could name.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying there are none. I'm just saying when you go to events and when you look on television, there's very few that are in the most prominent roles. And yet when you go to events, Roz, I don't know, back me up, 60, 70% women in the attendance?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Fair, right, guys? I mean, like, it's so why? So I know it's two very different conversations. Like women and people of color is two different things. I get it. How are you doing right now, both of you? Like, how are you doing? Number one, with COVID, and number two, with like everything that's been going on with riots and things.
Well, with COVID, I think, as you can see, we're both sporting our COVID haircuts.
Yeah,
this guy's hair is super long. My grays are just marching forth. But you know, yeah, we've mostly been homebound for the last 3 months. I know there's different ranges of thought on whether this is something that we have to lock down on, whether we should go and live our lives. For me and for my husband, you know, I have asthma. Our son has asthma. We're not willing to take risks. So we choose to seclude ourselves as much as possible, go out only when necessary, and establish, you know, use precautions. As far as race is concerned and the things that are going on, I think it's an important conversation to have, but I don't think it's solved by the methods that are mostly going forth right now. I think we need to be pulling people together. I think that if there are things that are violating civil rights, things that are really offensive and not, I don't like Aunt Jemima offensive.
Right.
I think that those things, you know, the real offenses, bring them to light. I mean, that's the thing, this hatred, this discrimination, most of that thrives because it's happening in the shadows. You know, the people that are the victims aren't having their moment to speak out and have people come to their defense. So let's have the conversations, but doing things that continue to divide us further, I don't think are going to get us to where we want to go at the end point. So it's, I think generally though, when you have something like this, that pendulum has to go way, way, way far before it starts to come back and then hopefully settle in a more, you know, calm and measured place. So, you know, in a lot of ways, I'm watching it like we were down in Baltimore. Like you said, we were in these buildings. I mean, we hear the helicopters, we see the sirens and things going by, but we're not in the street.
No.
So that's kind of where I am, in this sleepy little village in the Hudson Valley. But, you know, we're an interracial couple. Race has always been a part of my life. You know, I was discriminated against. My grandfather was the son of a sharecropper who grew up in the South, and he and his brother fled north because they were chased by the Klan. And I was told our older son went down to Maryland and did this whole historical ancestry.com type research. And he found that not only did they flee, but, you know, the land that the family used to own was taken and used for an Air Force base down there. My grandfather's one brother supposedly was lit on fire, burned alive by the KKK. So, you know, I don't take any of this race things lightly, but I don't see race first when I look at people.
No, and I know you don't. And I mean, for the years I've known you, you've just been so fun and so warm to everyone.
Yeah.
Can you give an example? And I promise we're not going to go on and on about this. We're going to move on to like music and mediumship and all kinds of other stuff. But can you just give me an example? Like, tell me about like subtle racism, not the overt, like, hey, you're a different color, blah.
Oh, my
like
favorite.
That's easy, right? Like we all know
my
that
favorite one. And I have the double whammy of being an empath. So I'm very sensitive to other people's emotions. I pick up on what you're feeling and what you're portraying, even beyond you saying what you're saying. My favorite is going grocery shopping, and I pass a woman, usually it's a white woman, who has her purse in the shopping cart, and when she sees me, she grabs it. You know, I'm just coming over to get some tomatoes, and suddenly I'm seen as a threat. And you know, the sad thing about that is I've learned to I've learned to kind of watch for these little shopping cart purse minefields and avoid them, because I don't want to feel that feeling when they give me that look. So, you know, it's modified my own behavior and my own perceived just freedom to move about my business without thinking about things like this. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing, but you know,
that's not in my world experience, right? When I go down the grocery aisle, that doesn't happen to me, and I would have never thought of it. And thank you for sharing that. And her name is Karen, isn't it?
It's always Karen.
Always Karen. You know what we're going to do, Roz, when this is over and we can all grocery shop again, we're going to go to the same grocery store. You're going to go down one aisle, and then you give me the cue which woman did it. And in the next aisle, I'm going to steal her purse.
Yes!
I'll be outside being like, money! Woo! Like,
let's do it.
I'll be like, and then in the next aisle, you'll pass her again and be like, didn't you have a Gucci handbag in there? Like, oh, it's gone.
I'll be wearing the bag. I'll be wearing it then.
Yeah.
There we go. You'll hand it off to me.
No. No, but that's so frustrating. And that's the thing, right? And it feels like right now, the whole world, but especially our country, is trying to divide into just two teams.
Yes.
Right? Two and only two. Like we used to be cool with like 50, 60 teams.
Yeah.
You know, I used to hate you because like you like the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that's a real reason to hate you. Like that's okay.
Hey!
Come on. Patriots fan, like whatever. It's not personal. It's just your team, right? It's just your team. So, but like, so now we're just trying to divide. Our brains can't handle 50 teams. We need two. Everybody pick one, and it's horrible. Like that's not the way the world has ever worked. And so it's a shame. So okay, let's get back to paranormal stuff. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I think it's important to have it, to address it. Tell me about coming out to your family as like an empath and a medium.
Ooh, you know, it's funny. I like that you use that term, because in a lot of ways, that's what it feels like. Not just the family, but also, you know, every time you start a new job, it's that, when do I come out to them that I'm one of these ghost hunters and one of these, you know, spiritual people? Yeah. But yeah, I think they realized what was going on, because I was too young to realize that it was something different and weird. So, you know, probably as young as like 5 or 6 is when I started to tell them that, hey, this thing is going to happen. And at first they would brush it off, but when I was consistently right, they had to listen. So yeah, I think it made them uncomfortable. I don't remember ever having a conversation where people were like, yeah, this is awesome. But the funny thing is, I did a paranormal event. Yeah, you were there too. We did Parafest out in Bethlehem, New York. And Bethlehem, PA. Yeah, I remember you did the Ouija board experiment there, right?
That's right.
Yeah, which was the first time I even touched the Ouija board since I was a kid, and had a weird experience. But while we were there, yes, there you go. Yes, we all got a free one to bring home. But while we were there, my sister, who's 4 years older than me, actually came as an attendee. I didn't even know she was into this stuff. So it was like, wasn't even things that within my sibling group that we talked about, like that she was into ghosts, that she watched the shows, even though she knew I did the show. We never really talked about it. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that you can have different people in the family have different levels of interest, but you're not necessarily discussing it, you know?
Yeah. So, Michael, how did you meet Rosalyn?
Through ghosty stuff.
You're like, hey, want to get alone in the dark with an EMF meter with me? What was the line? Come on, give me the pickup.
He's taking notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was helping I was on the production crew for an independent movie focused around the paranormal experiences of the aforementioned Christopher de Cesare. And the director wanted to have a segment where people from Paranormal Entertainment came in and discussed parts of what his experiences, how that echoed with things that they'd seen and heard, or what it might mean based on their models of paranormal experience. One of your previous guests from a month or two back, Brian J. Cano, was one of the other people. The Joe and Christine Chin were there, and so I was a production assistant. Everyone's coming in for the day, and I saw someone pull in, and I went out to help her park her car. And
hold on, let me stop you real quick. For those not in the business, production assistant means bitch. Go on. That's if I'm wrong, correct me, Michael.
Well, you do everything, and you do it fast. You do it with a smile, because
like a bitch.
Like a bitch. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
She's revealing too much here.
So you parked the car. You parked the car. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, this is the beautiful Rosalyn Bown. And she just wanted to know where the bathroom was, because it was about 3.5 hours from South Jersey to where we were filming.
I really had to go.
And so years later, I'm like, oh yeah, you remember the first time we met? And she's like, no.
I don't remember.
Sorry.
He was the help.
But the second time that we met, there was a short-lived two really nice events, Parahistorycon 1 and 2 up in Lake George.
Yeah.
And at the first Parahistorycon, where another one of your previous guests, the Mudget Man, was there, as well as many other luminaries. And
he and I.
Stop you again. Nothing's more romantic than the great-grandson of one of the most prolific serial killers ever.
Right? He could cut a rug. He was out there on the dance floor.
He and I were on the dance. Me and Jeff were on the dance floor.
I wrote a song about it.
Oh.
Key of A. Mudget. Mudget.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah.
Glorious.
That one's got potential.
Glorious.
I just wrote that. Can you believe that? That was off the top of my head. Okay.
You're underpaid.
You're right. So Jeff Mudgett's there, and
me and Jeff were on the dance floor with another group of people.
The opening night, everyone is getting into the vibe and imbibing a little, and so I was just like, heck yeah, I'm gonna be out there on the dance floor too. And she was out there with a group, and we had a little thing. She had these sparkly disco ball kind of shoes, and I was like, dang, this is Rosalyn the gorgeous Bown. And
yeah, he danced with me, and I remembered him from there.
And next thing you know, you two guys are making out in a cemetery. Boom!
Like you do.
Like you do, indeed.
So that's actually a photo from our wedding.
I would be disappointed if that wasn't a photo from your wedding.
Well, it's not the wedding ceremony, but yeah, so the church that we got married at in the historic Hudson Valley here has one of those cemeteries that goes back like 200 plus years, and the wedding photographer was like, he'd done some pictures with us on the beach on the Hudson in the morning, and then in the afternoon he's like, yeah, I'd like to take you guys out there, like you're kind of ghosty people, and there'll be headstones and all that stuff. And so like, yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. And so I imagine like if someone was like recording the wedding, like audio, you'd be like, do you? I do. Do you? I do. And then like this other voice comes in, I do.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Okay, that would be cool.
Ghost, EVP.
Like the EV prenuptial. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. That's amazing. And so you're a music guy, Michael. How did you? What's your main? I imagine guitar because it's hanging there behind you. Like, what was your first axe?
Yeah, my first axe was a $50 acoustic that my parents got for me when I was in like 9th or 10th grade. And back in the day, all the music stores had these Mel Bay books that would teach you like Three Blind Mice and all this kind of stuff. And it showed you chords, but it didn't show you like any music that you wanted to know. So I put it in the closet pretty quickly. And I was on a church youth trip when I was in 10th grade, New York to Florida in a bus. Whoa. And so this one guy had an acoustic guitar, and he could play pretty much any song on the radio. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. So immediately got back and started taking guitar lessons. And so at one point in my circle of friends, I had one party at my house. There were no girls. There was soft drinks. There was no beer. It was awesome. It was a hangout. But I counted. There was 11 guitarists in my garage, and it was pretty impressive. But also,
wait, 11 guitarists and no girls? I believe you.
Yeah, of course you do. It's absolutely a picture.
I believe you.
Yeah, by my senior
I may have been there, Michael. I may have been there.
You may have. I thought you looked familiar. A little bit. I just got to put a mullet on. Yes, you were there. Yes, we all had mullets. But yeah, and then so a year or two later, I realized, okay, so one of my friends is brand new on guitar. One guy can sing, and one guy, his brother, has a drum set. Why don't I start playing bass? So we instantly had a band in high school and in early college years, and I've gigged out more as a bass player than as a guitarist.
What was the name of the band?
Well, that band was called Second Nature, and it was very, we had a couple of originals. We were playing some Living Colour and some Guns N' Roses and that kind of stuff, but we never really made it into performances. And so then years later, I was in bands, other people did the songwriting, other people would be the front person, and I was like, wait a second, I'm an English major. What's stopping me? And it was just fear.
Your major stopping you.
Well,
I'm an English major. I feel your pain.
You can songwrite.
Yeah. So I was just like, the only thing stopping me was just this thought that I was the worst singer or songwriter in the room, and it really doesn't matter. Wait,
do you feel like that now?
Well, I still don't think that I'm gonna, serenade people, majestically with my voice, but I think I can get my point across and
pick it up
in those performances.
Come on, let's do this. Pick up the axe.
All right. I'm
gonna teach you a song.
Oh,
please do.
We got acoustic. All right, we're good.
Yep.
You in tune? Okay. So E major, just regular E major.
Yep.
Go ahead. Go. You got it.
Ghosts.
Okay, now smash it. Smash the guitar now.
No.
Not these guitars.
Okay. Fair enough.
Guitar emoji.
Do you have a Guitar Hero?
Oh yeah, I think I've got one of those.
Besides me.
Oh boy.
That was interesting. One of our most reacted to Facebook posts recently. What was the site that you follow that had the guitar emojis?
I think it's called Music Memes. I think
Music Memes. So there was this caption with about 30 or 35 different guitarists from throughout history, but done in little emoji style. It was really clever, Hendrix is left-handed, Keith Richards is choked way up on his Telecaster and all that, and it was who are your favorite three? So she posted it, and within 6 hours there was 100 comments.
Yeah.
So from that list, I picked Eddie Van Halen, The Edge from U2.
Sure.
I think David Gilmour from Pink Floyd because of his versatility with gorgeous acoustic guitar pieces and 3-minute-long guitar solos that never seem to be about the notes, but just about taking you on a voyage. So, well, for him, not for me. I was the cream soda was my amber-colored beverage of choice. I'm like, yes, A&W. This is going to be a good weekend, guys. So,
yeah. The dark side of the moon definitely involves some hallucinogenics. It just did.
It did.
Cool. So, we could talk music all night, but there actually is a paranormal question. I feel obligated. Southern Ghost Society, I have a question for Roz. It was great to see you on Ghost Hunters Academy. Do you think the investigating in a competitive situation helped or hindered your work? That's a good question.
Wow,
See,
nice.
this is nice because I love this because then I don't have to do the thinking or the work. I'll just post what people say.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Southern Ghost Society. It absolutely hindered my work. I think first let me talk about Ghost Hunters Academy, how I first got involved. Now, again, I said I was an assistant director for the local T.A.P.S family group. That's true, but that's not how I got on the show. I was actually contacted out of the blue by a casting agent who said, we're filming season 2 of this show. We think you'd be a good fit. We'd like you to audition. And I deleted it because I thought they sent it to everybody in my group. Turned out they hadn't. So I fished it out of my trash and I said, well, if I can travel the country, which I'd always wanted to do, and make a living doing what I love and support my family, like, why wouldn't I try?
Yeah.
So even though I'm an introvert, even though I'm shy, I never liked to have my photo taken. I was really nervous on camera. I said, let's try this. So that's how I got on the show. But again, my heart was and my core is in being a team member. Being on this competition show was the exact opposite of that. And, I didn't win. Obviously, I lasted through 4 of the 6 episodes before I was kicked off. But I went on with an attitude of, if I'm going to win, it will be because I rise to the top, not because I drag other people down. So I still treated my competition as team members. If I wanted advice, I gave advice. I tried to help people out. So it absolutely hindered my natural tendency to be a helper and to be a mother and to be a caretaker and a teammate. And but it did lead to so many good opportunities. I always say that I won by losing. I still had the opportunity to take this, this name that I now was attached to, and go out and travel and do events and meet people and get to do public speaking. But I'm not beholden to any other group. I'm not under anyone's umbrella. I call my own shots and I only answer to myself. So kind of the best of both worlds. It was a great experience. I care about all the people that I was on there with, but I'm glad I lost.
It's like coming in second on American Idol, right? Like, you actually don't want to win. That's not the best you can do.
Exactly.
Because then they own you for a long time.
Yes.
And if you don't win, you're still your own person. And so I get it. And what, the question's been asked a million times to me. I'm sure you've gotten it too. Like, do these shows help or hurt the field, right? And the answer, of course, is both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we get to talk about it. Go ahead.
They bring the awareness. We can, like you say, we can have these discussions now. Because remember, this isn't, but for, people that don't, this isn't just about entertainment. I mean, we have entertainment because there are so many people that actually have had paranormal experiences. When the cameras aren't around, when no one's listening, people are really experiencing these things. So, I think it's a good thing that it's talked about now, because so many times people don't have anyone to talk to. They don't know where to go for help. But it does hurt the field because it's an unrealistic, very compressed microcosm of a paranormal experience and paranormal investigation. I mean, from experience with paranormal shows, that 45 minutes that you're watching may have been shot over 2 or 3 days and then put together. And that's how our film was shot. We spent 2 weeks at each location and would film usually for a couple of days to get the footage for the investigation. So, yeah. It's, I'm glad it's something. What bothers me about the shows is I feel that the audience, this is not early Ghost Hunters days. We aren't all armchair investigators watching the guys on TV. Their audience has evolved with them. So their audience members are out doing investigations. They've had experiences. So, I kind of wish that the shows would sort of elevate their game and include the now newly evolved, more educated audience in what they're doing, instead of just being armchair stuff.
Hold on. Are they evolved and enlightened and better, or are they just emulating what they saw on TV and creating like a feedback loop of just like the same theories, the same ideas over and over, but like with a tighter shirt and like bro, I mean, at what point are we just regurgitating with like a different, I'll do it, but I'm blonde with long hair, right? Like, that's my
That's a good point. I think that the people that are quietly doing it in their hometowns often are more involved. I think the people that are, with the GoPros and the on their YouTube channel constantly, maybe are, like you say, just emulating what they see because they want to hit the big time. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of money in the paranormal. So they're barking up the wrong tree if they're looking to make money.
But the funny thing is, so we have a whole generation that grew up watching these shows, and to them the currency is likes and video views and stuff like that, right? Because they know there's not a lot of money in that. I mean, YouTube will give you a couple of bucks if you have a ton of views, but a couple, not, you're still going to live in your mom's basement, So at what point, like, is attention the goal? Right? Like, and by attention means any attention, whether you love me or hate me, as long as there's video views and stuff like that. And that's what's weird, right? Like, so I started in all this as an author. I was writing books. My first one came out in 2004, which, my God, was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And back then, the paranormal shelf, Roz, was like, it was huge, right? It was like really big. Now it's just one section. Because no one's writing books anymore. No one's doing like in-depth research and going, here's the book of the thing I studied. They're doing 3-minute selfie videos for like, like, what's up, bro?
Or 10 hours of EVPs with no context.
Yeah, right. So yeah, you're just, so like, so research is not valued. Views and likes are valued.
Yes, absolutely. And again, entertainment versus paranormal research,
right.
It's the two sides. And if the people that are YouTube crazy, craze, media whores,
hey, I'm right here, Roz, I can hear you.
I'm talking about the extreme. But if those people are in it just for entertainment purposes, want to go out and kind of thrill seek and etc., there might be a place for that. Just please stay out of private homes, don't go and muck people's lives up. That drives me crazy. That's not the place for the cameras and the notoriety.
No, and that's one of the things I've always struggled with, because I've never found a home situation that's purely paranormal, unless they're just interested. They're not scared. They don't feel threatened. They're just like, hey, we think this is neat. Do you want to come see this weird phenomenon? That's okay. But when they're like, we got real problems, there's always something else. There's drugs and alcohol and violence and, mental disorders, whatever, that I'm not qualified to deal with. I'm
glad you say that, because, when I was with my larger group, before we would go to a home, you would contact us and say that you're experiencing things. First thing we're sending you is a 50-question questionnaire. And it's exactly what you said. It digs into, psychological diagnoses, medications that you're taking, who lives in the house, any criminal backgrounds. Again, it's not from a place of judgment. It's from, we need all the pieces to find out what's contributing to this perceived paranormal activity. And then that being said too, stressing the term perceived, for years now, I've done lectures at different paranormal conventions, like the ones you and I have attended. And I would always pick a topic, and then I would research it. And then come the season, I would give that lecture all season. And now that my husband and I are married, we continue to do that together. But one that I did by myself years ago was called Perceived, what was it? Natural Causes of Perceived Paranormal Experiences, I believe is what I called it, or Perceived Paranormal Activity. And I was giving some possible explanations for some of the things people think that they're experiencing. I'm not discounting what you experience, but I'm saying let's look at possible natural causes so we can eliminate them. And then if you eliminate those, of course, you're left with something that may be paranormal. Right. And it was interesting because it was things that people hadn't heard of, many other things. But, again, I'm not saying this is the reason you're having this experience, but kind of tuck that away in the back of your head. Because one of my favorite examples is someone that I knew closely growing up. She grew up, we were friends together as kids, and she contacted me one day through Facebook. I hadn't seen her in probably 10, 15 years, and said, one of my children is having some experiences. Here's what's going on. He's being awakened by something in the night, feeling of anxiety when he's in his bedroom. He woke up with lesions on his skin. He thinks it scratches, like all these feelings. And I had done some research and realized that some of those things he was experiencing could be explained by toxic mold exposure.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I said, is it possible that you have toxic mold in your house? She said, it's funny you say that. I feel like it's been leaking behind the wall in my shower and my landlord hasn't done anything. Let me have him look into it. Now, she never followed up with me, but I'm assuming that she went and found some answers. So again, it's not necessarily a demon, let's but it might be otherwise, because you don't want to go chasing rabbits down paths that you don't need to. Let's start with the most simple explanations.
And had you said, oh, it's probably a demon, we need to find an exorcism, and she didn't have anyone look into the mold, right? Then someone gets really sick and dies.
Yeah. Or just being told it might be a demon. Now you've got the anxiety ramping up and feeding any even maybe benign activity or subtle things or something that was happening next door. You could be feeding it, like fixating, focusing, or being very fear-based. So yeah, I try to, we're people that our goal isn't to find the next evidence of the paranormal as much as it is to help people and empower them to deal with anything they might be experiencing. And when you come with it from that right mindset, I think it makes a difference in how you handle the cases and how you ultimately treat people.
And you used to be a psychiatric nurse, right?
Yes, I was. That was my first career.
Job experience.
Oh boy, yes, I was very young. But my goodness, yeah, I wish I had been a paranormal investigator at the same time, because I would have had more insight into what was currently happening. I also may have had more insight into some of my patients. But yeah, it helped me learn how to view situations, how to look at possible side effects of medication, of abnormal psychology, and just how to look at the holistic view of the person, the emotional, the mental, the physical, combined with their experiences.
Yeah. The thing about the paranormal is that because so many parts of the human experience intersect with it, whatever experience you have in life, you can bring something to the table. That's the awesome thing about it. If you're a chemist, you have to have a background in chemistry, right? Paranormal, you can have a background in music and art, in nursing and investigating and fire research, whatever, right? Like you can bring whatever you bring to the table and add something, which is really cool. That's one of the things I like about it, is it's very inclusive.
Yes.
Not to get all kumbaya on everybody, but like us weirdos on the fringe, right? That we're all there, like we have things in common, right? Like we've kind of grown up on the fringe and we're interested in it because we find ourselves there and we find our answers. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like a song again. Michael, let's do this. Do you like country music?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so country music's great because it's only 3 chords, and it can be about anything. And so I'll go first so you get a feel for what we're gonna do. We need help writing a country song, so I'm just gonna grab a comment and I'll turn it into a country song, and then you can take the next one. All right. So this is Pursue. All right. So G, D, and C probably makes sense if we're doing country, right? Yeah. Research and search for the obvious explanation, as you say, should be part of every investigation. Okay, let's see. Get one for you. Okay, go. There you go. Can you read it?
The same thing that happened when the CSI shows came out. People figured that crimes could be solved in 45 minutes, yeah.
You got this. See? My God. We could, we could record like a country song right here. Oh my God.
Wait, I'm gonna try.
Then the dollars will start to flow.
Okay, I'm gonna let's try the blues.
Dang.
Okay, hold on. All right, I got one. I think my dog is possessed by the devil and it wakes me up in the middle of the night, staring at me. I got the blues, got the ghost hunter blues. All right. Someone else got one? Who's got one for Michael? Okay, what's coming? Oh, there you go. There's one. There's a layup.
Now I need to drink. Now I need to drink. Now I need to drink. My tea out of a red solo cup. Oh yeah. tea out of a red solo cup. And then I'm gonna pee all night while my dog stares at me like he's possessed by the devil.
Nobody leaves that singing the blues. All right, Roz, you got the next one.
Brilliant.
No.
That was great, man. We had some original music, and I mean original.
Take my Angry Orchard and
Whoa.
Little slide guitar with a bottle.
Yes.
Well done, sir. Well done. My goodness gracious. Tell me what you guys miss most about, doing stuff out there in the big scary world.
Oh my goodness, live music. I mean, not to stay on the same theme, but that was much of our entertainment outdoors, was going to concerts and shows, and we did a lot of things. We have a friend who has season passes for Bethel Woods, where Woodstock was originally held. And when she and her husband don't go to shows, they'll often pitch the tickets to us. So we usually see 3, 4, 5 shows a season out of Bethel Woods, sitting out in the grass and having a drink. And we just miss that whole camaraderie of music out live with other people.
Definitely.
You know who's touring right now?
Who?
No one.
Oh.
Nicely done.
So, I miss bars, and I miss live music, and I miss open mics. I used to do these story nights. I mean, like, people would just tell stories about anything, right? Like, it's not paranormal. And I would just go and share a story, right? Like, I was just one of the crowd, and I miss those. And I miss there are these places, I swear they used to exist. You would go there and they had this, like, all these different food options, and you could order it and they would bring it to you and you could eat it and just leave the dishes and go.
No, that's strange. That's very
I'll tell you a good story. I'll tell you how.
Urban legend.
Yeah.
Debunked.
Some guy in a mask brings it to your door. Come on. We all know. That's the only way it works.
It's something. Yeah, I know our friends here miss family and friends. So we got the speakeasy where we can write impromptu blues and country songs. And this is what we can do. So this is what we do. And I know I've appreciated, like, getting to hang out and reconnect with people like you guys, and I know a lot of people that are watching us and who watch it on the rerun. It's just like, it's a social thing, right? We get to hang out, we get to chat. And that's and we need it, right? We need it. Like, when it first went down back in March, I live in Massachusetts. We're the northern climates up here, so I think at first we sort of treated it like an extended snow day.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, and you're where you are too. You get good snowstorms too. So when it's like when you're like, okay, snow day. I don't want to. I'm going to turn the world off. I'm going to live like it's 1800. This is great, and that's fun for a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes too. Around day 6, you're like, okay, charm's wearing off.
Yeah, we're getting fat.
Yeah. COVID-19 is real, right?
Exactly.
If we're lucky, 19, it's going to be like COVID 40. I mean, so anyway, but one of the things I discovered is that the more I started reaching out to people, the more I started, like, having video chats, FaceTimes, these things, like, I started feeling a little bit better. That it's not the same as being in person, giving hugs and stuff, but it's better than just sitting in the corner and waiting for it to be over.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to stay connected, because what's the point without your connectivity to other people,
Totally. So how are you guys staying connected?
We've attended a lot of, the first month of it, we actually joined a songwriting Zoom workshop. So it was a 4-week weekly songwriting class held by a very popular touring musician that we know, that we've taken classes with. And it was fun because, I don't really sing. I know like 2 chords on the guitar. I've never written a song, but every week we were tasked with writing a song and performing it.
Shoot, we wrote like 4 tonight in the last hour. This was easy. How did you do? Do you have any? Can you do?
I wrote 3 songs. I wrote 3 songs, and my favorite one was actually a paranormal themed one.
Give her the guitar.
It's called "I Can't Play." It's called "I'm Haunting My Own Life," and
I love it.
It's about being an introvert. It's
I'm not fully buying the introvert thing, but I'll let you run with it. It's cool.
I am.
It's true, and that's that's the odd thing is someone can have social phobias, and like when they're around people, they'll be amiable, they'll be social, they'll be funny, but it's those minutes leading up to being around people where it seems like Armageddon. You're like, wait, like these are our good friends. We're just like, you've done millions of these events. Like, why the so
I have to be prepared. And then I feel good. Yeah, but no, yeah,
it's a real thing.
But it was fun though because we're doing all this on Zoom, so it's like this whole little community of 25 songwriters, some a little more experienced, some brand new, and yeah, just working together. And again, it was around that love and passion of the music, and it's nice finding those little hubs of community where you can connect with other people.
We need our tribe.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
I miss my paranormal tribe, right? Like going to the events, and there's all these like, I mean, because I've talked about before how like when I grew up, I never quite felt like I fit in. I got along with lots of people, and I do. Like I'll talk to anybody about anything, but I don't ever feel like, oh, this is where I fit. And I'll say this, like the paranormal is as close as I found.
Oh, absolutely. Probably like you, every season, as it gets towards the end of the season, you're hitting October, it's getting towards November, and you almost get this like little pseudo soft depression because you're like, wow, I'm not going to see some of these people until next year. Yeah. I'm not going to be in Kentucky this winter. I'm not going to get out to Iowa. And, but people that I see on the circuit, suddenly it's like, oh, I'm by myself in New Jersey again where nothing awesome was happening. So yeah, it's nice to have that tribe of people that you can connect with. And I do miss the conventions a lot. And hopefully we'll be able to get out to them again soon, but not yet.
Tim Reham wants to know, are you in touch with anyone from the show?
In touch with, I see a lot of the people from the show. We do events together and things. Like once in a while, I'll hear from some of the locals. I've done things with Steve and Dave a lot, just because Bruce Tango and I, were friends, and he would be like, "Hey, we're doing this thing in Jersey. You want to come and do it?" I'm closer with people from other seasons or other offshoots, like Dustin Parry and I were very, very close.
You stay away from my man.
No, I saw him first. Also really close with people who are like family to us. Joe Shin and his sister Christine Downs, like they are like our siblings. And actually the week before New York finally did its shutdown in March, we were supposed to visit them and spend the weekend at their house and in Rhode Island. And it broke our heart that, we had to make that difficult decision to say, we don't think we should come, because we don't want to expose anybody and we don't want to be exposed. So, so I do stay in touch in that way. And on Facebook, of course.
Yeah.
Martinez from the show, I talk to her. I see Brett McGinnis on Facebook sometimes. And those are probably the two that I mostly stay in touch with. And so a lot of the crew.
The crew, yeah.
The crew, I'm closer with the crew, I think, than some of the other competitors.
I think it's hard for some people to understand. Like a show is like this little dysfunctional family that has to like live, eat, breathe, sleep together for like it's very bonding. And
that's a good point.
You might be hanging out with the PA or with like the sound guy or the DP or whatever, like because that's just who you click with, and you're traveling, so you don't know anyone else locally. And
I was on the road with them for 2 solid months. I mean, 8 straight weeks I was gone, and I had a little first grader at home, so it was really difficult for me. And he was having issues while I was on the road, so my focus was split. It's hard to compete when your little one is, melting down in his first grade. So it was really, really challenging. But we were like this little family. And you're on the air and you're competing, and then you're going to see a movie together. You're having dinner together because, like you say, you're this little, like a little traveling circus. We were like Carney.
I think Carney's probably the best. Like, I think you nailed it. So, are we going to get this song out of you or no?
I'm not a great singer.
It doesn't matter.
I can sing. Okay, all right. I can sing like a verse.
Okay, one verse.
Now,
Mike, can you play? What? I mean, you got her back or what?
I don't know if he remembers it. He did play it for me before, but I'll try and do the first verse.
Okay.
I don't remember all the words, and I don't have it in front of me. But again, it's called "I'm Haunting My Own Life."
I love it.
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm such a terrible singer. Okay.
It's just us. No one's listening.
Oh, okay, good.
Everyone mute.
I don't even know what key. I don't even know what keys are. Okay, I'm gonna try.
Pick a letter.
I drift among you, seen but unseen. You're close to each other, miles from me. I am a shadow at the gathering, watching, waiting, not joining in. I am unlike you, though you like me. You can't really know who I won't let you see. A solitary spirit, introvert inside. Can't escape the feeling I'm haunting my own life. Like footfalls in an empty room, I'm haunting my own life. Okay, that's it.
I love it. Yay!
I apologize for everyone's ears.
No. You know
what? I wrote it myself.
That's awesome.
And there's more. There's more.
Think about it. Like, you sing from the heart, and that's all that matters, right? When you like art, like, so when you're trying to make art, to me, like, any artist, music, painter, poet, writer, anything, right? You're trying to tell the truth. Which sounds like it should be so easy, but it's harder today than it's ever been because no one can even agree on what the truth is anymore.
That's a good point.
And so when we hear truth, it sounds so good, right? Because we need to hear it. And that's what great art is. Great art is truth. Look, you're getting lots of love. You're getting love.
Thank you, guys.
See, look, you rock. See, look at they all love you.
And the fun thing about the song is I wasn't writing it about paranormal. I was writing, like you say, I was writing my truth. Yeah. And my husband listened to the beginning of it when it was still, in its fledgling stage. And he goes, that sounds like a ghost. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm haunting my own life. So it just happened organically, which is what I also love. But yeah, it was from a place of authenticity. So
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So everybody follow these guys on Facebook. There it is. Our Song of the Spirit on Facebook is the best place to find them. You can see all the stuff they're doing and all that. You've got shops, you've got readings that you're doing, and one day you'll be out there again doing stuff.
Yes.
Correct.
One day. Oh God. And I hope to see you. I hope to see you guys, someplace. One of these days.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Exploring Legends. And of course, your bartender always appreciates tips on Venmo or PayPal because that's what we're working for today, Roz. That's it. And see, I don't watch the clock with this show. I watch my glass, and I'm out of beer. So on that note, I think we got to ride off into the sunset. Thank you both very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Brian Danhausen, who I saw on the feed.
Oh, yeah.
See, there he is. There he is. We should trade readings sometimes. You guys do it. Brian, I'd trade a reading with you, but mine would suck because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Hey, thank you, guys. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. And until next time, please, oh, please, take it easy.
Yeah.